Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11, taking a look at DraftKings quarterback plays for Week 9, cash game and GPPs, and also at value. Week 8, I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Derek Carr were also the phenomenal plays, and it was a lot of guys you basically had to pay up for outside of Carr. This week, I mean, there's a couple value options, but I think we're pretty much looking to do the same or kind of stick in that mid-range. Keep an eye on Ben Roethlisberger, who is questionable. Not really looking to use him this week, but I think it kind of bumps up, obviously, the guys around him, like Antonio Brown, like Le'Veon Bell. So do keep that in mind. Catching quarterback, looking at Aaron Rodgers, and obviously 7,800, so he is an expensive one to pay up for. Gets the Colts at home, looking at Rodgers with a 30.5 team total. Football Outsiders has the Colts ranked 29th as the 29th pass defense. And really, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, it's pretty simple. I mean, Green Bay doesn't really have a rush game right now. Ty Montgomery might be back, but still they're not really big on running the ball anymore. You're just going to see a lot of kind of dump offs, and that's going to be their run game. So that's more points to Rodgers. Green Bay has scored 89% of their touchdowns through the air this season, and obviously looking at a 30.5 team total, I'm banking on Rodgers to basically have 3 or 4 touchdowns, and I think that's a kind of a viable expectation for him this week. Indy has a 31% DVOA against the pass. They've allowed the 8th most DK points per game, so I'm certainly looking to use him a ton. And obviously, if you're not comfortable with paying up or you want to go a different direction, I don't mind Dak Prescott. I mean, 6,100. I know Ezekiel Elliott is a top running back play this week. Look at that team total. It is 27.25. On the road at the Browns, 30th ranked pass defense. So I'll certainly be looking to get some Dak exposure. Cleveland's allowing the 4th most DK points per game to opposing QBs this year. They've allowed 19 passing touchdowns. Prescott does have some rushing upside. And, ever since week 1, he's been above 18 DK points. So he's been very solid, very consistent. Things have opened up for him a little bit. Obviously, Des Bryant being back helps out. And you're looking at him as pretty much a kind of a safe floor play. Home matchup against the Browns, the price isn't that bad. I don't mind using him and Elliott together. I think that's certainly a viable way you can go, especially if you don't want to pay up for like an Aaron Rodgers and an Ezekiel Elliott in cash games. So Prescott certainly viable there at that price tag. GPP quarterbacks, I am looking at Andrew Luck, 6,700 on the road at Green Bay. So $1,100 cheaper than Rodgers, similar upside for me. Team total obviously not as great, not as eye-popping as Rodgers is. But I like the price tag. I like the discount. Green Bay's defense, obviously banged up secondary, 7% DVOA against the pass. Luck being a touchdown underdog, 40-plus pass attempts is certainly there for him this week. Even in a horrible game against the Chiefs, I mean, he still managed to score 20 DK points, but turned the ball over a few times. And also, kind of a sneaky factor to Luck's success this year in DFS is he's rushed for 209 yards already. I mean, this is a guy who's going to be forced to scramble from the pocket quite a bit. He's going to give you about 3 to 4 fantasy points just solely off of rushing each game right now. So, 20 DK points in rushing this season, I think that's a solid kind of factor to key in on, especially in the GPP, if he can also get the passing game to kind of tie into all that together. So, he's been above 20 DK points over the last 4 games. He's been very solid. I'm looking at him at 6,700, borderline cash game option for me. So if you don't want to use, Elliott and Prescott in cash games, I don't mind using Luck as well. I just think you're going to find him at a little bit lower ownership in terms of, this next guy we're going to talk about. There are some value options this week. Prescott, Rodgers, all those guys are obvious plays. So, I'm looking for a little bit kind of a recency bias with Luck because him and T.Y. Hilton were not that successful last week. Colin Kaepernick, 5,600 is my next GPP play. Home matchup against the Saints, 24 team total, pass rank 28th, there, so per Football Outsiders, 28% DVOA against the pass. They're allowing 20.4 DK points per game this season. Kaepernick draws some real appeal here as an underdog. 16-18 DraftKings points, certainly reasonable for this price tag for what he's done over the first 2 games. if we can get that rushing touchdown, I mean, that's over 20 DK points, and he's been very solid running the ball. Through his 2 starts, he's combined for 15 DK points solely off of rushing. So we can get that touchdown. We can get a passing touchdown or two, 200 yards. I think you're in for a very solid day from Kaepernick. Obviously, you can pair up, a Torrey Smith in a GPP. You can pair up a Jeremy Curley in a GPP if you want to go that route. So I certainly don't mind it. I think it's an intriguing option this week. San Francisco may or may not be getting Carlos Hyde back, so keep an eye on that. Obviously, Hyde would be a great option. So I think in terms of fantasy value, we like the Saints even on the road, but we also like San Francisco too. So a solid matchup for them. Value quarterback this week, home matchup for Sam Bradford against Detroit. 23.5 total, so not that eye appealing, but I do like it still. The pass game has been kind of looking a little bit more heavier used with Matt Asiata, with Jerick McKinnon, who's banged up, and this offensive line just simply not being able to create spaces for them. Detroit does rank in the middle of the league in pass rush, so it's not a great nor bad matchup in that department. Bradford hasn't thrown over 2 touchdowns per game this season, but obviously you're looking at Detroit, who's allowed 19, which leads the league. I don't mind a Bradford-Diggs duo this week. I mean, 40.3% DVOA against the pass. They're bad against, opposing ones. We could see Darius Slay be out. So Stephon Diggs is a solid play to kind of pair up with Bradford, and really a cheap way of kind of going. And then you can, use Ezekiel Elliott. You can use Jordy Nelson, T.Y. Hilton. You can get exposure to the Luck and Rodgers passing games through the receivers. So I like Bradford. I like Diggs this week. I don't know if I'd play one without I don't think I would play Bradford without Diggs. I'd play Diggs without Bradford. But I think in terms of being just a Bearman play against the Lions, I think you have to kind of consider it if lineup construction works out to the point where, you can open up a ton of high ceiling guys and kind of put them around him. So, there are kind of just a fewer quarterbacks that we are looking at here with 5 or 6 teams on bye. Obviously, Thursday, Monday night game not being on the main slate. So, things are a little bit dwindled down here. There's a lot of bad quarterbacks on this slate as well. So that's going to wrap things up here with the DraftKings quarterback picks for Week 9. Be sure to head on over to dailyfantasycafe.com. Check out our great tools and content. If you are looking at cheat sheets that will be out on Wednesday evening, certainly be sure to give those a look as well. So that's going to wrap things up here, and we'll see you in Week 10.